5 steps to go from campfire strummer to absolute freedom. Now I'm going to get straight into it and tell you exactly how this video is going to go so you can leave with a new understanding of the fretboard and an actual routine to lock these concepts into your playing. First, we're going to go over 5 core concepts that are absolutely necessary for your ability to feel free on the guitar. Then once we get those in your head, we'll get you an actual routine so you can start sprinting towards creative freedom. Sound good? Oh yeah, I can't fucking hear you. Concept 1 is that scales are your friend. We all seem to think that scales are the enemy because we look at them as a chore and not a tool. Let me explain. Everybody says practice your scales and all we think of is, walking up and down your scales like this. And that's why none of us do it because, fuck that. That's not fun. It doesn't really even feel like it's helping. The problem is that when you're doing that, you're not conceptualizing the scale and actually breaking it down. So next time you go and you play your scale, I want you to slow down and label the notes. Pick apart not just the note names, but the intervals. So we're in C major, we know that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's pretty easy, right? Now let's count up with the intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. It seems almost stupid to do it when you're just counting to 7, but when you're trying to find notes across the fretboard, having this knowledge will be so helpful. Let me give you a real life example on how I use this. Let's say I'm playing over something that's just something simple, like C to F, right? Well, I like to think about where in the scale those chords fit in. Like we know C is our 1, 3, 5 in C. And then F would be our 1, 3, 5 in F, but it's our 4, 6, and 1 in C. And then you know what notes you can target to play over the chords. And this is kind of tying into our concept too, which is that you don't even know what a chord is. If you take the time to break apart your chords, it becomes much easier to understand what you're playing. Let's go back to C over F. Like we said, we have our 1, 3, and 5 in C, building our C chord, and our 1, 3, and 5 in F, building our F chord. But A, what does that mean, and B, how do we use it? Well, A, what does that mean? Kind of like we just went over. It's just counting up those scales, but we're just picking specific notes. So we have the 1, 3, and 5 creating the chord. But you might notice we've only played 2 major chords. What happens if the chords change? Well, if we want to go to a minor chord, we take our 1, 3, 5, and we flatten that 3. 1, flat, 3, 5. In the actual chord, we're changing the note on that B string. Major third, minor third. Now this is a key concept because if you're trying to solo, it's very important to target the notes in the chords you're playing over. If we go back to that C to F example, right? If I went to play over that and I just go... it sounds like I'm hitting blues licks, but am I really playing C to F? I don't think so. So let's try again, little C to F. What can I play over that? I'm basically just playing C to F but as lead lines, and that's what becomes devious. People say, oh, I don't know how to play over the music. No, you don't know the music. These are 2 different things, because conceptually it's just play the notes in the chords, and if you can play the chords, you can do that. You just haven't slowed down enough to make it happen. So let's break apart some open chords because those are probably the chords you're the most familiar with. Let's start with this G shape. We got 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1. Going up that. Now what about this D shape? We have 1, 5, 1, 3 going up that one. Now what about this A minor shape? We have 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5. Now what about this E minor shape? We have 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, 1. Now I know I'm going quick with that, but when you do it, it's really okay to slow down and just figure it out. It's not an easy thing, but just don't overthink it. Don't sit there and be like, fuck, how do I do that? No, that's not going to get you anywhere. What you want to do, play the chord. Say we're on that G chord, for example. I'm going to pick it apart so that you know how we get there. We're on that G chord, we go, okay, I'm not going to sit here and be lost. Let me relate this to the G major scale. You pull out your G major scale and you count up it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And you say, oh, well, what are the notes in that, And and you pick apart where they fit into that chord. We have our first note, then our third note, then the fifth note was here, but we got the same note here. And then we kind of just loop around from there. We got the first note again, then the fifth again, and then the first note again. What you'll find as you break apart these chords is that they're all very similar. The guitar gets confusing because we have all of the notes repeating everywhere, but in a way that also makes it easier. Like if you're learning the piano, you actually have to learn a different shape for every key. Can you fucking imagine? We can barely keep up with the keys and it's the same goddamn shape. Concept 3 is a little brutal. This is the truth about creativity. You will never be creatively free until you put the guitar down and start thinking about the music with your head. Because the real ideas don't come from the guitar, they come from your head. The guitar's not writing the music, you are. So let's put the guitar down for a second and talk about how we can use our heads to come up with ideas. Alright, whether you're putting a backing track on or just going in raw, the idea here is to sing your ideas. It's very easy to get caught up in this idea of, you know, your scales and you're just playing in your scales, but at a certain point, you're not really thinking musically anymore, right? You're just thinking about the scale, and a scale isn't music. That's like saying counting is math, right? Counting's not going to get you very far very fast. Just like playing stuck in a scale isn't going to sound very good because you're not being creative with your head. So what I do a lot of the times is I will actually just sing melodies all around the day. I'll just circle around and go like da da bum bum down down bum down bum down bum bum down down bum, and find something to go on top of that. You got that first idea in your head, down 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 down, and what would go over that? Now you're gonna feel really silly while you're doing this, but music is kind of a silly game, right? Like we're out here playing with a piece of wood and making noise, and that's it. So don't take it too seriously. Try and come up with ideas in your head, try and sing them out, make yourself feel stupid, okay? If you can't come up with ideas in your head and be comfortable with them, how do you expect to pull them out on the guitar? Concept 4 are the different schools of thought while improvising. A lot of people get stuck on how to improvise, and I think it's because they've never had it broken down to a way of thought they can actually use. So here are 3 ways to think about improvising. Number 1 is what I like to call chord brain. We were kind of going over this in the chords concept, but the idea here is to think about the chords that you're playing over really, really, really fucking hard, right? Let's say we're playing over... Oh, I need to turn the amp on. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say we're playing over A minor, E minor, D minor, right? That's the progression. Well, we want any licks we would be playing to highlight those notes, right? So how can we do that? We can play something... It's all about focusing on the changes between the chords. I'm just going on that A minor, kind of like A minor pentatonic vibes, right? You go into this E minor 7, and it's D minor 7, same shape, just bring it down. So you're not even playing the chords, but you can still hear them under that, right? School of thought 2 is called blues brain. This is when you really just let yourself rip it in pentatonic. Sometimes it really is good and what the song needs to just be ripping the fucking blues shit. Let's say we're playing over blues, right? We got a little A minor blues going. What would I play over that? Hell, I could highlight the chords, and I would say when you're doing this blues brain, there should be a hint of that chord brain in there, right? But the truth is that this just needs some fucking wailing, right? A little something like... That was mostly like 4 notes that I was riffing on there, just in the pentatonic scale, okay? Sometimes you really just need to rip it in the blues over what you're playing. School of thought 3 is the fucking raw dog. Sometimes, you really need to just not fucking think about the chords, not fucking think about the scale, and just let yourself go free. Because I'll tell you what, You'll never be able to break out of scales if you're only playing in scales, right? How do you expect that to just fall out of the sky or something? No. So what you want to do in raw dog mode is to just fucking waffle, basically, right? Let's play that same A minor blues, right? Now, a lot of that kind of did sound like trash, but if you throw some of that into regular playing and mix it with the other ones, you can actually sauce it up crazy. And the secret here isn't to stick in any one way of thinking, it's to cycle between them and use all of them. Concept 5 is the heartbeat of sound, also known as rhythm. Face it, if you don't use a metronome, your rhythm feel is shit. So here's the secret to staying in pocket. The concept of this is absurdly simple. You're just going to set a metronome up and record yourself playing something, then watch it back to see if you were locked in or not. Odds are you're not. Just keep it real, note it, say, well, what parts am I lacking and how am I lacking? Am I pushing? Am I dragging? Like, ahead of the beat, behind the beat? Do I need to speed up or slow down? If you watch yourself play enough times, you will be able to lock it in. Now, I'm recording myself for you right now, so you're just going to have to tell me if I'm locked in or not. I'm going to play a song that I actually have to bring the stew this weekend. This is kind of a double working for Braden. I'm practicing and filming. Whoa, that was quick. Let's have editing Braden slow it down and see where I was fucking up, because I'm sure I can find it somewhere in there. Okay, this is a lot of information and I want you to be able to actually use it. So if you take 25 minutes a day to follow these 5 steps, you will reach creative freedom. Step 1, take 5 minutes to play the major scale and conceptualize it. Now, by the way, all these steps should have the metronome on. So get your metronome on, 1 note for every click. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, all the way up and down. Just really make sure to think about the intervals in the scale, because the scale's kind of useless if you're not conceptualizing it. Now, step 2 is to take 5 minutes a day to play an arpeggio. This kind of goes in with our chords. This is our chords idea, to play arpeggios. So you can take that same major scale and just work your way up. Play C major arpeggio, D minor arpeggio, E minor arpeggio, F major arpeggio, G major arpeggio, A minor arpeggio, B diminished arpeggio, C arpeggio. Do all those and find ways to mix them up, but start slow. You only gotta do it for 5 minutes. Step 3, put the guitar down for 5 minutes and seriously take 5 minutes to be a fucking idiot and just sing ideas from your mouth, because it's going to make such a huge difference in your ability to be creative easily. Step 4, this shit's about to get fun. Get your phone out and get a stopwatch rolling. Now, this is going back to our schools of thought concept. Every 30 seconds that pass, you're going to have a new school of thought that you're going to be focusing on. So you got 30 seconds of focusing in on chords hard, 30 seconds of railing them blues, and 30 seconds of not giving a shit and just waffling. If you cycle those every 30 seconds for 5 minutes, you will get experience in all of them. Step 5 applies to every prior step, and it's just to use a fucking metronome. I swear to God, if you do all of this work without a metronome, you are such a fucking idiot, okay? And I'm not even saying that to be disrespectful, I'm saying that because it's true. If you're gonna put this much work into learning how to play guitar, do it with a fucking metronome so you can be in time doing it, okay? Bonus step 6. This video is dense as fuck. There's a lot in here, right? I'm trying to get you to actually learn. But with that, it might be kind of hard to just start by following this 25-minute program I just laid out for you. So what I would seriously actually recommend you do is go back through this video very slowly with your guitar and actually lock in all the concepts and all the exercises individually, and then start doing this 25-minute routine. If you're bold enough to do the whole thing off the bat, more power to you, but I'm kind of a slow steps kind of guy myself. Now, I want to tell you that I just dropped Braden's Guitar Me, which is a free Discord community. Well, I'll be right there to answer any questions you have. So if you just watch this video and go like, man, I could really lock this in if I could just talk to Braden, well, diddly-doo-dah squat, you could do that. And if you want to work with me a little tighter, I'll put an application down there too, so you can see if we're a good fit to work tighter together, and we'll hop on the phone and sort it out. You keep killing it, and I'll see you whenever I make another one of these.